to the iris.
Огонь по готовности!
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another edition of the Watchpoint Post Show, live from the Blizzard Arena in Los Angeles. May the 4th be with you. I'm your host, Malik Forte, joined tonight by Mr. X Brent and 80s rock and roll superstar Zoe. Looking great as usual.
Hey.
Thank you.
Hey, now, guys, stage 2 is winding down, and we had some great matches today. So you know what we do here on the Post Show. I'm going to start with you. What did you learn today?
Well, I learned that I am in fact the Oracle and not Bryn. I did predict Atlanta
Well.
great, and I had 100% confident that my prediction is coming true.
I feel like we're going to hear that a lot in this
Oh yeah,
post
yeah.
show.
No, I'm not gonna. You're not gonna hear the end of this one.
What about you, Brent?
I learned that when teams listen to my coaching advice, they catch the W's, you know? So Kareev coming in, when I start talking about them putting Kareev in, they put him in, they see the wins. Kareev, you can play other maps other than Junkertown.
You're repping the Kareev now.
I've always been repping the Kareev, you know?
Even when you were trying to like...
Even when I was
to
his agent,
Washington.
when I was trying to get him to trade it over to Washington and all the other business.
Yeah, you tried to
Like,
get him traded.
I was just
It's
looking
not
out for
him.
him,
It
you
was
know?
the team.
I want him
Yeah.
to be honest to be playing some games. I didn't want him to just be sat on
I've learned that nobody out there has learned anything from everything else that everyone else has learned. I'm kidding. I actually think, I kind of want to go on what Zoe was talking about. I actually learned I think more for the NYXL is that their passive playstyle is probably not going to work against some of those top teams. I think the Atlanta Reign really played aggressive, gave it to them again, which I think was a big surprise to everybody. But I think it's more of a wake-up call for New York when they go up against the London Spitfire, the Gladiators, and the playoffs. That it's going to be pretty tough to play that playstyle.
Matt, is this the same thing that we saw from NYXL last year at the end of the season?
No, I think last year towards the end of the season, quite frankly, I think NYXL just kind of got bored. They were just beating everybody so bad that like they were just kind of like moseying on through towards the end. And then I think they never really adjusted to the meta towards the end of the season, where I think now that they're in it, right? I mean, there's a lot of other top teams in the league this year. It's not just them and then everybody else. So I think they definitely got to kick it into another gear. It'll be interesting to see how they rise to the challenge, though.
All right, you're right about that. Well, guys, Hex's favorite team, the Chengdu Hunters, came in today, needing a big win against the LA Valiant to still have a chance at making it into the Stage 2 playoffs. But the Valiant wouldn't make it easy. Coming out of the half, things were all tied up. And the second half started with some Hunters wackiness that captured the hearts of many. We got the attacking Sombra push on Kings Row.
Vintage
You know,
Hunters.
that stuff that
This
your
is,
teammates and comps blood for.
But you know
literally
what?
what you
That's been
expect,
working. That's been working for them quite a lot of times, where it really shouldn't have. So it's actually kind of surprising every time it still works.
Yeah, I mean, teams, you'd think that they would kind of read into this, but I mean, it's been said time and time again that Chengdu, the reason that they have so much success with these weird compositions is because you're never going to find a team that also plays them to scrim against and to practice. So the only team that does it is Chengdu, right? And if you don't play against Chengdu on a regular basis, when you come up against this team, sometimes you're going to be less surprised.
But I think though you only worry to the point where if you can get the Hunters off of the Hunters, yeah, I mean this is ridiculous. And there's no way anybody from the Valiant can come out and be like, oh yeah, we knew, we just couldn't get nobody even turned around, like fired some shots off. But I think once you get the Hunters to switch off of being the Hunters, I think that's when you really can start to make some waves, get some the really good games going your way. So
Except
you
that
even just
one
say?
time.
that once you get them to
Vancouver,
go to
they
3,
actually look good at 3-3.
once you get them to go to 3-3,
Okay,
you can
all right.
start to play well against them.
Sure.
No,
Yeah,
but
makes
that looks good on 3-3 also in the past.
I'm just trying to feel
doesn't
mad at
matter.
every
Define
opportunity.
good. Define good.
Well, they showed the
Capable?
ropes to
Like-
Vancouver Titans, at least on one map.
That's true.
Yeah, all right.
They look adequate.
Yeah, after,
Yeah,
after,
yeah.
Bumpo, after Bumpo switched off
Serviceable.
a Hanzo and they were
Exactly.
playing Farah.
I was really impressed with Agilities here actually on Busan. I think he actually played amazing. Not only did he put up good stats himself, I just generally feel like he created a lot of space for his team there and really saved their bottoms more than once.
The bottoms.
Almost said it.
Saved
Almost said it.
It's like, did she say they're buttons? That was
Yeah.
like, what?
Yeah, you know, you've never been in that
bottoms.
situation where your buttons are like. you just
Where they
save
need
them.
some saving?
Bottoms.
Yeah, no.
I have a
with
quick
you.
question for you guys. What is the big difference between Kariv and Izayaki? What is Kariv bringing to the table
Oh.
that's making the Valiant that
I'll
much
take
stronger?
this.
Yeah, Coach Brennan.
Yeah.
Again,
Oh,
the
good
agents of
point.
Kariv and Coach Brent's coming in hot.
Agent.
All right, it's the ultimate usage. Kariv is actually, he's a very intelligent player. He's played almost every role into the sun now when it comes to the game. He has fantastic game sense. He knows when he needs to be using his transcendences. It felt like when Izayaki was playing, he was being pressured a lot of the time to use his ultimates. I hate the way you look at me whenever I'm just trying to share this conversation. I'm making a point. This guy's always like,
I'm waiting for a
Well,
quick.
I'm just
like, look at me
I'm
like
just
this.
listening to your point.
I can't take you seriously.
I'm just listening.
Sure. All right, get out of here.
Well, you didn't even finish your point.
My point is that he was better with the ultimate usage.
Okay.
Ultimate
go.
usage. All right, we're
That
gonna
was
roll
a good
with it.
point.
Thank you, Brent. Thank you very much. All right. Well, guys, last night the Vancouver Titans broke the all-time match win streak record with their 16th consecutive win. And today they were looking to make it 17 against the Seoul Dynasty. Taking it back to the top of this one, the Dynasty appeared to be ready for some Vancouver smoke. Munchkin was popping off on Widow. The momentum seemed like it was in their favor, but it was all short-lived. Another Imperial performance for the Titans.
Yeah, those two
Yeah.
Munchkin clips, maybe the only Seoul Dynasty highlights we got in here.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is that that's like the story of Vancouver here, right? If you're matching them 3-3, you're most likely going to lose. If you're trying something out of the ordinary, you may be getting a map or two.
But there are moments where, yeah, I think I would agree with you. I think that Seoul Dynasty looked their best in that first point when they were able to, play some more damage dealers where we've seen other teams have that success. But at some point, you need to match them in 3-3. And then that's where teams fail. And then it's where I think Vancouver also plays strong. Like they bend, they don't break, and then once they get you to force over and play the mirror, that's when they crush you.
Right. At what point? Go ahead, Brent.
I mean, I couldn't agree more with that sentiment as well. And I think, as well, it's so interesting to look at this Vancouver Titans team, and it just becomes like another day at the office, I feel like, watching the Vancouver Titans just win all of these matches. But we do just need to reflect on how insane it is that they are currently on their, 17th win in the Overwatch League now?
Yeah.
Like, absurd, honestly. Absolutely ridiculous. Well on their way to completing 2 stages undefeated.
You know how you can tell that the Titans and the Shock are on like another level? When we're in the back and we can see like all the player cameras,
Yeah.
when like a play goes in like the Titans or the Shock way, and you stare at the other team's cameras, and they're just kind of laughing it off. They're like, how
Oh,
did
well.
they do that? Like we played as good as we could. Like there's not a chance, right? There were times where I would see like this old ice guys like J-Hog, like after a play goes down, like he just laughed, like man, like that's about as good as we could do. Like I don't know what these guys are playing another game, man. Like Twilight's getting these transcendences out all the time before the shatter even goes down. Like the reaction's just unreal.
I don't think it can be understated how awesome this actually is for the Vancouver Titans, because the Seoul Dynasty, they're not a team to sneeze at all. They're a good team.
They're good.
No,
They're good.
The thing is, I like them when they play aggressive, even if it's with Marl and Fitz. I do like it a lot. I felt like they were a bit indecisive towards the end of this series, where they weren't quite sure if they want to commit to aggression or not. So they had a lot of moments where they're like half committed to it, like throw one ult, and I guess that didn't work, and then they started to back off, but then they already lost themselves the second fight because they didn't have all the ults available again. So it's, yeah.
Reoccurring issues.
Recurring issues. Well, that's back-to-back undefeated stages for the Vancouver Titans. Who's going to stop
Making
them?
it look easy.
And they made it look easy. It's
Shock?
crazy.
Yeah.
Well, guys, coming up after the break, we'll find out if some of the bold predictions from our analysts were here to hold up. More Watchpoint right after the break.
Coca Cola is the official refreshment of the Overwatch League.
swap sides. Hey, swap sides. You're not on our side, buddy. Swap over.
Oh no.
All the Atlanta fans over on this side, boys.
Oh no, dude, my ears.
Dogman still talking that talk. Now, the last time the Atlanta Reign and the NYXL faced off, Atlanta handed New York their first loss of the season. In today's rematch, the Reign were hoping to make it 2 in a row. If Atlanta were going to pull this 2-for off against New York, though, they were going to have another big performance from their star Zarya player. You know him as Baby Bae, but today, he was a grown-ass man. Only a beast deals damage and absolutes like so.
Man, he was so dominant. I
Oh,
was
yeah.
so
Yeah.
impressed with how he played. Literally almost never died. I think he went away. I wrote it down because it was actually, oh yeah, there we go. 43-8 is what he went on their
Oasis,
first map,
yeah,
Oasis.
Oasis, yeah.
Excuse me?
Yeah, just
He was
ridiculous.
crushing.
I mean, the guy is it's kind of absurd actually as well. He's improved quite a lot recently on the Zarya role itself after receiving quite a lot of criticism. I mean, do you remember his game against London when Fury was just having him for breakfast?
I capped it, I remember.
Yeah, he's just throwing a grab straight into the, well, not straight into the Matrix. Fury's a bit of a freak beast when it comes to eating them, but
Yeah.
I mean, it's been pretty impressive improvement.
That play from Mono potentially saves Hanamura.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that was
He doesn't make that
very
play.
high-risk
I
play.
mean, that is a super high-risk play, but considering how map 1 went, I think New York's a little bit, on the ropes. They have to make those high-risk plays. They would never do that like normally.
I don't know. I was not sold on New York's tank line today. I really have to say, I felt like, I wouldn't say Mono was feeding. I don't think he really necessarily got any support whatsoever, and I think Atlanta really abused the fact that they're putting so much resources into keeping Jonak alive, whereas their tank line just died a horrible death at the same time. So Atlanta just kind of really game plan for that.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what it comes down to. Like, you can tell Atlanta's game plan was to try and pressure Jonak, make them use the armor pack, make them use all the resources, as you were saying, Zoe. Just put everything into Jonak to keep him alive. And at that point, who's there to save Nene, when he's being pressured? Who's there to save Mana when he's being pressured? They don't have these exact resources again to try and save their main tanks.
Yeah.
Frontline's just getting
But
obliterated.
it's interesting, though, because in stage 1, it seemed like they were giving Nene those resources, and he was popping off like crazy, right? I mean, he was like, every time we would run one of his graphics, he was like, at worst, like 5th in a lot of Zarya categories. But he's dropped pretty heavily in stage 2, the last time I was looking. So I think you kind of have like New York in a little bit of a flux in terms of playstyle right now, which is interesting because they never really been in this situation because they've just had they've had Jonak and Mono plays every tank at a really high level. They've been just kind of carrying on through.
But what an insane upset again from Atlanta Reign. This was the match that they needed to do to prove that they were for real after their loss against Guangzhou earlier. 2 wins against New York. That is ridiculous.
Who would have thought a team could have a stage where they beat New York twice and not make a stage playoff?
What
And not
Baby
make
Bae
a stage playoff.
Oh, well,
That's unreal.
Exactly what he said. I feel him. And Alex Oliver, we saw your tweet. You better dye your hair red.
Yeah.
We're paying
All these tweets coming through, people making
We're gonna keep
ridiculous
tabs
things.
on
Yeah, come on, man. Gotta follow through.
All right, well, guys, it's time for me to give someone else their flowers, as I always do when they're right. Earlier today, Zoe made a bold prediction, and we need to give her some credit for that.
Yeah.
Zoe, you picked it.
Go me.
You were the only person
There
who
it is.
stuck with the Atlanta
There it is.
Reign here for the
And they
match.
laughed.
New York.
They laughed
There you
at
go.
me.
They laughed at
Wow, you all laughed at me.
I
I
mean,
was
you
voting for Valiant.
You took them
That's
because they're a
true.
happier city than you.
What we
It
gathered from
doesn't
this,
matter.
though,
I was right and you were wrong. That's all
Like
that matters.
apartment rent rates and stuff.
Let's
we were
be
going
real.
deep.
Let's be real. She's just trying to win the crowd for the next homestand.
True.
Thinking in advance.
Yeah, also, but
So we
I've
played the
always
long
been
game.
picking my guys.
You are. You
Come
have.
on,
You
I
have.
have.
Let's talk.
I
True
really
talk.
have.
The homies.
Yes,
just a
yeah.
big DeFran fan.
Huge.
Yeah.
Fran fan.
Huge.
Fact.
Oh, I see what you did there. All right, guys. Well, with an opportunity at the Stage 2 playoffs long behind them, the Houston Outlaws came into today's match against the Spitfire hoping to salvage a win in Stage 2. The London Spitfire never beat the Outlaws in 2018, so today was a little bit more about securing the Atlantic Edition. And against a struggling Houston team, they could definitely smell the blood in the water. The Outlaws typically come ready to duel, but this time it was London who shot first.
And it's a huge win for London. I mean, they move up now as they take the Atlantic Division, right? Now they have the #2 seed for the stage playoffs. Then locks New York down to potentially 4th, 5th place, where they have to play the Gladiators in a round 1. I mean, that is a huge win for London. And I think they made it look pretty easy. I think the Outlaws I don't want to say the Outlaws knew this one was coming, but I think, they've had a lot of, roster movement around throughout the stage, right? Jay comes back in and plays some more, and then you bring in Spree and Cool Mac to play together at the same time. It's a way different look for Houston.
But honestly, I think London Spitfire just showed how incredibly good they are at divide and conquer. They were so good at splitting up their opponents and making it worth their while by getting crucial pickups or denying crucial healings, etc. And like just causing Houston Outlaws to have to walk into different line of sights for them.
I'm really rating London right now.
They're good, man.
I think that they've been making massive improvements as it's coming along with their triple tank, triple support. They keep sticking like this. They keep playing like this as well. You're looking like a contender right now for breaking into that.
They're looking just like how they did last year, where they had the talent, and if they figured it out, then they were great. I mean, that's all we were waiting for last year, is for them to figure it out. They figured it out at the right time last year, right towards the end,
right moment.
But like. You look at this London roster and top to bottom, like there's no player you would think is weak at any position.
Yeah.
They can all the players they have at the positions can play so many different roles, right? It's like you just think like this is a scary team, like if they start to get rolling, especially like playing a really good triple tank, triple support, because then they start moving into some more damage dealer heavy comps, right? But Ocean really strong on like, some Roadhog, some Soldier 76, Fury as well. You can make some really nice stuff with this London team. I'm excited.
And we can't forget about Jester on Doomfist. Best Doomfist in the league right
Widowmaker.
Widowmaker.
Bumper's Widowmaker was fire though.
Indeed. Well, guys, I can't believe the Outlaws went winless in stage 2. It's only the 4th team in Overwatch League history to have a winless stage, actually. So, man, I feel like you'd have to be like a bird with more eyes than usual to have seen that one coming.
Do it for the people. Do it for the Brengies watching at home.
Spikes.
Oh, goodness me.
All right, here we go. Outlaws are not going to win a game in stage 2.
Brent?
I'm not Bren anymore. I remember what it was like to be Brennan Hook, but I remember so much more now.
Bren, I've seen things in the Flames too, and I knew that Atlanta was going to be New York, so you're not the only one with several eyes going on.
The Overwatch League is powered by Intel. Game, record, stream without compromise on Intel Core i7. And by Omen by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League.
Welcome back, everyone. It's now time for the most over-the-top moments of the day, starting off with Prophet and Birdring doing what they do best, comboing. 2v4 against the Houston Outlaws.
Hey, Brig's alive and she got that big circle around her. Anything's possible, right? I mean,
this is probably the only time you're ever going to see like Prophet and Birdring, I think, popping off in this meta. It's so rare to see them, and we know they're capable of it, right? These guys, insane damage dealing players, but when, I mean, the Brig and the Zarya, not really the carrying heroes, but they managed to do it anyway. It's kind of crazy.
That was nuts. All right, up next, we have our tank players playing DPS. Mainly Gesture on Doomfist. I was very impressed by this.
I love this. And if you paid attention to the player cams in the arena here, they were having a laugh. They were having the giggles of a lifetime. Yeah, Gesture had a blast with this one. It was so much fun to watch. I want to see more of it.
I mean, Bumper literally wants to play Mystery Heroes.
Yeah.
Next up, we got Elsa flexing onto that Symmetra and enabling the 5K.
Yeah,
Love
works
to
every
play.
time.
Or
Shouldn't,
The
but
best
does.
team in the league.
I can feel this on a spiritual level, honestly, from my Diamond games. Every now and then you get this GM Symmetra Smurf who just rolls around, coming out. They do this weird thing where they put all of the little turrets in the TP, and I slow down to a crawl, and I don't know how the hero works. I get confused. I die every time. It's a confusing hero. I don't understand it.
That was beautiful. Next up, Hacksaw giving us a blast from the past with some good Genji play. This makes me miss the dive meta.
Yeah,
100%.
I want to see some more of this, at least, hopefully, coming later into the season. Genji, my favorite hero. Love it. High skill, high mechanics, everything that
It
I've
played
got and
right.
more.
Yeah. Oh, okay. There we go. I
Give
want to
us
shut
more.
it down before
Give
it's
us more.
said, but there it was.
Last but not least, Fry, FRD, whatever you want to call him. Getting stunned by the graph, and then look at this.
This is nice.
Perfectly placed self-destruct.
You remember this, Nomad?
I remember this. I thought it was going to be the play of him feeding on the point at the end to lose it, but nah, this is the good play though.
Yeah, I mean, Fried as well, individually, pretty good player, you know? He's filling in for Daco.
Oh, yeah.
So
Such
I'm
a good
leaving
play.
that
All right,
point.
guys.
Don't look at me.
Let's
Friend
check
of
out our
ours.
Twitch cheerleader board. And yes, you guys can relax. I'm going to actually do my job this time. The Atlanta Reign still on top at #1. Hangzhou, New York, Houston, and Dallas rounding up the top 5. Vancouver Titans are sitting at #10. For them to be doing what they're doing is kind of perplexing. I think they should be a little bit higher, so get those cheer emotes coming in. And let's look at the individual leaderboard. I'm only going to call out one person on this board, as I always do. #5, Lackish Bobby.
Oh, yeah.
I love that donation.
I bet
42,000.
Everyone else is so upset that they don't have funnier nicknames, so they don't get called out.
Oh, I'll do him a
Guy
Guy at
solid.
the top. he's
Nitro
crushing
Man,
it.
65.
Nitro Man, 65.
I'm like-
doing
Look at that,
his thing.
#4.
Fan to map
Insane.
8.
Aperture.
Or Phantom map. I don't know.
Phantom Map.
Yeah.
The
Keep those,
grain.
Yeah.
keep those share bits coming, guys. We love
coming.
the support. And speaking of Twitch, be sure to get your Overwatch League All Access Pass on Twitch, because coming up right after Watchpoint, you won't want to miss a live Q&A with Kari from the LA Valiant, exclusively with that All Access Pass on Twitch. But guys, there's still 2 playoff spots up for grabs, so when we get back, we'll see what's in store for the final day of Stage 2. Don't go anywhere. More Watchpoint coming up.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile, now connecting 99% of Overwatch League fans. Catch your league on America's network, T-Mobile.
Welcome back to the Watchpoint Post Show. The final day of Stage 2 kicks off with Toronto up against Paris. The Justice try to end on a high note against the Boston Uprising. Shanghai, who have already locked up a playoff spot with the Valiant win today, are looking for a win against the Shock. And the Seoul Dynasty and Hangzhou Spark battle for the final playoff spot in the last match of the day. I feel like there should be confetti raining from the ceiling with the Shanghai Dragons going to the stage playoffs. Didn't see that one coming. But guys, these are definitely the matches you're looking for. But Zoe, what match are you most excited about tomorrow?
It's gotta be the last one. I want to see Seoul Dynasty taking on the Hangzhou Spark, and I want to see which one will clinch that last spot. I love a match where everything is on the line for both teams, so this is gonna be a good one for sure.
I think for me, it's probably going to be the third match of the day, which is going to be the Shanghai Shock match, because I want to see if Shock are going to continue this map win streak right now.
Yeah.
Still haven't dropped a map right now in this current stage. Pretty crazy stuff. Like, are they going to be able to keep this going against Shanghai? I think it's going to be a very tough match for them. I mean, it's not even their goal from what we heard the other day on the desk, but I mean, if they can do it, it's going to be pretty monumental.
I think the Shock and the Dragons as well, for me. That's a match I'm extremely excited for. It seems like these two teams had scrimmed at some point in the past. I remember when they were doing the halftime with Super and Sinatra, they said they had a lot of time playing against the Dragons.
That's true.
So I think if there was a team that knew the Shock really well, how to navigate them, potentially in a really close match, it could be Shanghai. I also think it's cool that we see like the Spark playing much better, right? Seoul Dynasty coming around, Atlanta's pulling up. So I think just in general, a lot of these teams that are in the middle of the pack, they get some time off for the All-Star break, going to be much better. I think the Spark Seoul Dynasty game is going to be sick as well.
Yeah, the level of competition is only going to ascend. And I'm with you guys. I think San Francisco pulling off that ultimate perfect stage would be crazy to witness. But guys, that's going to do it for us here on Watchpoint. If anybody told you that we won't be here tomorrow, it's a trap. We'll be back with the pre-show at 11:30 Pacific. But until then, everyone, have a good night.
That's terrible.
Into the iron.
Let's break it.